Hi, sixth graders. Great job yesterday on getting your work done. Here today, I've set up a nice little work area. These are stressful times, aren't they? So this is, I'm going to explain the review for you right now. I will give you all the answers. So go ahead and watch. Here we go. All right, number one, let's see. Number one says 4/5 of 300 M&Ms are brown. So how many are not brown? So 4/5 of 300. This is one of those where we're going to say 300 and then we're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And we're going to say, what is 300 divided by 5? Now, if you didn't know what that was, you would do 300 divided by 5, but I know that that's 60. So I'm going to go ahead and write in 60, 60, 60, 60, and 60. And it says that 4/5 of them are brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4, and it says, but that's how many are brown. Okay, this is one of those where they're trying to trick you, but don't be tricked. It's asking how many are not brown. So the correct answer here was 60. I hope you guys got that. All right, number 2. The ratio of girls to boys in the class was 3:2. If there were 12 girls, so we've got girls over boys, and they were 3:2. If there were 12 girls, how many boys were there? So we're going to say 3 times what equals 12 times 4. So we're going to say 2 times 4 equals 8. So there were 8 boys. The correct answer for that is 8 boys. All right, number 3. We've got 7 minus 3 and 4/10. Now this is just like that pi decimal color sheet that we did last week where we were lining up those decimals. So 7 doesn't have a decimal, but we got to put it in there. So we've got 7 minus 3 and 4/10. Line those up, and 0 minus 4 can't do it. Regroup. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So the correct answer to that is 3 and 6/10. And then next one, number 4, is 3 and 4/10 times 2/100. It doesn't matter if they line up at all, because remember what we're going to do is this is just like taking out those decimals right now. There's 1, 2, 3 digits behind the decimal. We could just say 34 times 2, and just remember that we've got 3 digits behind the decimal point when we're done. All right, so we're going to say 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 2 is 6, and we're done. But now we got to put 3 digits behind the decimal point. So that means we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And we need to put a 0 in this one. And remember, we want to put a 0 there because we don't want just have a decimal point hanging out there. So the correct answer for this would be 0.068, which is 68 thousandths. All right, number 5, we're going to say 63 hundredths divided by the square root of 36. Well, before we can do this, we got to figure out what the square root of 36 is, which is 6. And then we're going to put the dividend, which is 63 hundredths, in the box, and we're going to divide it by 6. Remember to bring up the decimal point. 6 goes into 0 times, 6 goes into 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 minus 0 is 0. Bring down the 3. And 6 goes into 3 0 times. So we're going to put that there. Now we need to add this on because we're not done. So we're going to bring that down. 6 goes into 35 times. 5 times 6 is 30. So the correct answer is 105 thousandths. All right, next one, number 6. We've got 63 divided by 9/10. So we're going to put 63 in the box because it's the dividend, and we're going to say divided by 9/10. Now, we can never have a decimal in the divisor, so we need to move that guy over. And whatever we do to this, we have to do to the dividend. So the decimal point here, so we move that over once. We need to move this over one. Fill that space with a 0, and then bring the decimal point up. 9 goes into 6, 0 times. 9 goes into 63, 7 times. 7 times 9 is 63. 63 minus 63 is 0. Bring down the 0. 9 goes into 0, 0 times. The correct answer for that was 70. Number 7, we've got 1 and 2/5 times 1 and 1/3. You can only multiply fractions with other fractions, so we've got to change these into fractions. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, so 7/5. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, so 4/3. Nothing that I can see that we can cancel right here. So 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 3 is 15. We should never leave our final answer as an improper fraction. 15 goes into 28 one time. The denominator will still be 15. 28 minus 15 is 13. So the correct final answer for that is 1 and 13/15. Number 8, we've got 5 divided by 1 and 1/3. Well, we got to change these both to fractions before we can do anything more with this. So we're going to say 5 over 1 divided by 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4, 4/3. And then remember, this is where we're going to do the keep, change, flip. So we keep 5 over 1, we change the division sign to multiplication, and we flip the 4/3 to make it into its reciprocal. And we're going to multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 4 is 4. Can't leave our final answer as an improper fraction. 4 goes into 15 3 times. Almost 4 times, but 3 times. And then 15 minus 12 is 3. So the correct final answer for that is 3 3/4. All right, number 9. We've got 3y equals 8. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're saying, what times 3 equals 8? So remember, we want to get the unknown alone. So circle this. That means we're going to say 8 divided by 3. So we're going to do 8 divided by 3, and we're going to get our final answer as a mixed number to make it easier for us. Okay, so 3 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 3 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. And so our final answer is 2 2/3. And that is, what number is this? That is number 9. All right, number 10. Write 48% as a reduced fraction and as a decimal numeral. All right, well, percents are based on 100, so this is 48 over 100. You know what, 48 hundredths, that's a fraction, but when you say it like that, it's also a decimal. So let's go ahead and jump over and do that as a decimal. 48 hundredths looks like this. So there's the second half of the answer. All right, but now we've got to reduce this guy. Okay, 48 and 100. I think we can divide those both by 4. Okay, 100 divided by 4 is 25. 48 divided by 4 is 12. Can't reduce that any further. So the correct answer for that is 12/25. All right, number 11. What is the probability of rolling a number less than 4 with one roll of a number cube, and express the probability as a decimal number? Let's see. A number less than 4. So on a number cube, meaning dice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number less than 4. That means half of them are less than 4. So let's see. So that's 1/2. And oh, that's just like the one that you had on your review that was due yesterday. So we want to write that as a decimal number. So we can change that to have 10 in the denominator. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 5, so we're going to write that as 5/10, but we want to write it as a decimal number. So 5/10 can be read like this or like this. And so what the answer we're looking for is 0.5, 5/10 for number 11. All right, number 12, what's the median of these? All right, well, what I've shown you for these is I really want you to line them up under them as you put them in order from least to greatest, because that's what we got to do when we're finding the median. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, and we have 7 here. The median is 3 because it's in the middle. Make sure that you identify that. Some of you forgot to circle that median on your review, so make sure you do that on the test tomorrow. Okay, number 13. This will be the last one for this video. 9 plus 3 times 5 minus 4 squared. Now, this is one that you guys are not taking care to do the PEMDAS, okay? It's important that you're doing this, okay? Because order matters. Remember, our God is a God of order and precision, and this is one of those cases where there's not a bunch of answers, and you can get a bunch of different answers if you do this your own way, but there's only one correct way to do this. There are no parentheses, but there are exponents right here. So that means we're going to copy down the other parts of the problem because they're not affected yet. Okay, 4 squared is 16. All right, so we're done with the exponents. All right, now we're going to multiply or divide going from left to right. And there is a multiplication problem right there. So we've got to stop and do that first. So we bring down the 9 plus 3 times 5 is 15 minus 16. Any more multiplication and division? Nope, mark it off. Now we're going to do add and subtract going from left to right. 9 plus 15 is 24 minus 16. So then we're going to say 24 minus 16 is 8. The correct answer for number 13 is number 8. And we're going to come back in just a few minutes to finish the rest of this. See you in a minute. Bye-bye.